for disagreements, for breaking up and making up. For all those out there jonesing for love, it's Love Jones right here, right now on Global 99.5. But even Mickey and me. Good morning. Welcome, one and all, to another edition of Love Jones, right here on the very best mix of R&B music, home of the Steve Harvey Morning Show for Global 99.5. Welcome, one and all of our listeners, those of you that are watching live via Facebook. And of course, you know that you can always call in at 812-1787, text and WhatsApp at 431-8497, and call in live at 326-0272 or 1. Today's a Friday. Welcome, D. What's good? Getting situated over here.
Good, so
You know what Fridays are?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm going to do my very best because we've said, some people have said that some of our languages sometimes goes outside the box. So I'm going to, just for Friday's sake.
This
related day for.
I was going to say that's the worst thing to choose for that.
I'll attempt though, just so people won't say that I didn't try.
Okay.
Today's usually the day that we talk about stuff that is pertaining to intimacy, sensuality, sexuality, and all those things that come under the umbrella thereof. Fridays is the day for that. Interestingly enough, I know I was supposed to read a particular WhatsApp that came in from someone that listens in via the States, and she sent something in. There we go. She says, I haven't had the opportunity to listen the way that I want to. There's been a lot of transitioning for me at work, and we're moving, and I have missed you guys so very much. I caught a little bit of the show on Tuesday where Alexis was sitting in, but I hope all is well. Please do tell Dee as well as Mikey I said hello. I miss listening to you guys every day because most of the times the strength that I draw from comes from the show and the wisdom that you guys impart. I must admit that I've been putting a lot of what you guys say and the advice that you give into action, and it has truly turned things around for my good as well as my husband. I'm so very happy. It has been a little scary, but it's good to know that you guys continue to impart knowledge that people are able to learn and put in play for their relationships every single day. Thank you so much. Signed, Liberian Girl.
What? I thought that was up. Hey, let me go. What's up, man?
Yeah, she is. I think it's Michigan A.
No, yeah,
or is it Maryland? I don't know. I know it's one of the M states that she's in. And, that's great because she said that she was having some issues with, being from Africa, being born there. Her husband is there. She moved to the States. He was still living there, and they had an issue with, children beforehand and trying to blend the family, blend the cultures together.
Because when he came, he was still
in that mode of this is the way we do in Africa, and this is what we're going to do here.
I think it's
and she's like,
in Africa no more.
Yeah, not in Africa anymore. Furthermore, I've been here 7 years and doing things without you. So we will have to transition and do things a little bit differently. Yeah? Yes, no cows to trade here. None of that. So, but it's awesome because I know that she said that she had been listening and it was really difficult. And she was wondering if, it was at the place where she would have to give up on her marriage. But she realized some shortcomings in herself and some things that she had to change and she had to grow from, taking it from a man's perspective and listening to you guys. And she said she started to administer those things and things are looking really great. Some good stuff happening on the job. He's starting to change. They're growing together, communicating better. The family's blending better. So every day is growth. But she said the show has truly helped. So that was awesome. Yeah, I like it.
I feel special.
Yay, Disney endings. But this thing, though, we had a guy, and he wrote to me last week, but we didn't have an opportunity to get into it. And he's saying that, he is truly struggling He said he was kind of afraid to write in because he didn't want to be lambasted. I said, man, we don't do that here. Not all the time.
I was gonna say, if he listens to the show, he'll know. Yeah.
Yeah, not all the time. But when we speak to you harshly, it's usually because, you know, we really want you to get it. And like I said, if you're able to draw something from it and learn some lessons like we all have, you know, a lot of times you can find that things will work out in your best interest. So his thing is, he said, you know, his fiance is unaware, but he said he has definitely had issues with cheating. She does not know. At least he's thinking that she's unaware of the side relationships. Most of which he said has been one night stands. It's not been any relationship or anything long term. But he said, to be quite honest, you know, listening to his uncles, his brothers, you know, they've always said to him, boy, getting married is like end of life. You know, when it comes to your exploration as a man sexually. This is something that they've always joked about. When he was younger, he listened to them talk about it. Boy, you sure? And since he's become engaged, it's gotten worse. You know how they'll rag on you, your older brothers and things. You got them. You know how they go.
I did it to my sister husband.
Right.
I tell you.
Ragging on them. And you know, he said that has always been a great fear of his. He said, to be quite honest, it took him a long time to venture into himself sexually. He said he didn't lose his virginity until he was about 21. Yeah. So he said it took a while. He said it took a while because he grew up in quite the strict households, Christian values and all of that. But he said, you know, with that, coupled with all the things that you see happening on a sexual basis out there, he said, you know, it took him a while. But once he started, he recognized that he was getting off course pretty quickly. He was so in all those, the wild set, the team. He was just on a sewing spree, you know. So he said he recognized that in himself, though, and he had to kind of pull back. He had to pull back because it was each saw himself truly getting out of control. He said he met this woman, you know, she's an awesome person. You know, they've had their regular ups and downs, but nothing off the wire. But he said that innate fear within himself with just being with this one person for the rest of his life, especially doing the things, I guess, that he has done sexually. He's trying to figure out a way to dispel those fears of just being with this one woman. And his question was, from a male perspective, how does one deal with that kind of situation? Secondly, with speaking those fears to his fiance, should he discuss the fact that he has stepped out because of these fears? Like, what is your advice from one man to another? Is it wise for him to go forward? He said because he recognized that he is in love with this woman, but he realized that there's a kind of detachment when it comes to their sexual relationship. So, you know, the kind of way they have great sex together, but he has seen it when he has stepped out and he's done these one night stands that it's just sex, it's just exploration, you know, but I love this woman and I can build a future with her. No one else that I've met, I can do that. So he's trying to figure out how to bridge the gap, you know, so that he does not hurt her in the way that she definitely does not deserve. So from one man to another, I mean, I know it's a lot to get into, but what say you to him if you're talking man to man?
The reality of it is, if you're talking about being honest and trying to build that relationship off of honesty, as scary as it may be to do this, in discussing, you have to tell her everything that you've done, because you don't want to get married and then you guys go out and one of these
one night stand
ladies approach your wife and be like, well, who you is? And she's like, this is my husband. Like, what? And she's like, oh, but me and him just sleep together 2 months ago. It's like,
and y'all have been together how many years?
Right. We just got married like 3 months ago, like, or a month and a half ago. So you don't want that type of a debacle to have to deal with. Like I said, one of my friends, he was a hooker, straight out. like he was married and he was still sleeping around on his wife. He said, and one day he just decides, like, you know what? Because it was the same thing. He was just always thinking, wow, suppose I go out and someone approach my wife or whatever. How will I deal with that? And this, and he's like, you know what? To hell with it. My actions caused me to be in the space that I'm in, so I have to take responsibility for my actions. And he said he went and he told his wife everything. Now, when he said that, I thought he was joking. And he looked at me, he's like, no, bro, I told her everything. I'm like, and you are still alive. You did well. Like, you did really good. And he said, since telling her, yeah, they had a rough period after, but he said, but since telling her, things have been completely different. He said the sex is better than it's been before. There's no
the trust,
right?
though.
The trust is the trust is actually a lot better than it was before, apparently. So, my advice to him is, I mean, if you love her as much as you say you do, if you think she is the type of woman that you believe she is, tell her and just roll with the punches. It's your actions that put you in the situation that you're in. So tell her and just try to if she's willing to rebuild, then do that. You could explain to her that it was the fear of, it was the insecurities, the unsureties of whatever. But like I say, you don't want to get married and then one of these incidents pop up early in the marriage. Because of course, like you always say, that she's gonna start to second guess everything that you have said from day one. And it is scary when you get married. The temptation is going to become greater as far as women and the one night stands and the thoughts, as you all say, and everything else. But it's just something that you have to do. You have to stand by it.
My concern is, I wouldn't say my only concern. I think the grander question here is, are you really ready to be married? See, because I think a lot of times we as people, women as well as men, we confuse the feelings that we have for someone. That doesn't necessarily equate to the readiness of this kind of commitment. A lot of times people get swept away in their emotions, and I'm in love with this person. And so therefore, I think the next thing to do, because that's the expectation. We've been together X amount of time. We always talk about that. I feel this way, you feel this way. So what are we waiting for? Perhaps what you're waiting for is that place of readiness. Now, whether you'll get to that place, I can't say. But if it's not just a feeling, if you're still acting out these things and these desires, I think that's a problem. Absolutely. Here's the thing. My thing is this, and I wish people would get to this place, sooner rather than later. When you have those fears and they feel as if they are taking over, you know what I mean? When those temptations become so great, I think that is the point when you need to really have a conversation with your mate. I don't think anybody wants to hear, hey, Sheila, listen, I think about other women all the time. I think about the different ways and plays that I can enjoy these things. I don't think anybody ever wants to hear that. Obviously, there's a way of saying it, but I think I think a lot of people can handle a little more honesty than people give them credit for. Now, you should know who you're dealing with, whether what can be handled as to what, but I think a conversation needs to be had and just say, listen, I know that I asked you to marry me and I want you to understand that I do love you and that's the reason I asked. But to be quite honest, whether it's something from what I dealt with younger, what I didn't deal with, whether it's just my feelings as a man that is still trying to find himself as a sexual person, trying to gain some maturity, whatever it is, I'm not certain that I can make this kind of commitment without hurting you because this is what the situation is. You know what I mean? Before you do the things that you do, sometimes if you can say what it is, then maybe you can find some kind of workplace between the two of you. But now he's already had so many different one night stands. And I'm not saying when you have the conversation to give any number. No, I wouldn't advise it.
She can ask.
Yes, but I mean, I'm not advocating dishonesty. And you know what the next question is, Nate? I can tell you from a woman's standpoint. How much is couple? I can tell you right now. Don't do that.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
I don't even believe you when they you. I've had indiscretions.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get into the particulars of it because I don't think that that's going to help this conversation.
Mhm.
So the particulars of who, where, why, and whatever, I don't think that's going to do any of us any good. But the fact is, it has happened. And it isn't necessarily because I don't love you. It's because I honestly don't know how to be committed. Truth. And so I understand that we're engaged, but perhaps you would want to rethink that because I'm still working on me. And not to say that the relationship necessarily has to come to an end because that's now a decision that she has to make. But don't even bother having this conversation if you aren't ready to face the reality and the repercussions to it, because there's going to be a lot.
Mhm.
So it is what it is. But I don't think he's ready to give up on the tap clap yet.
I think what it is whatever he heard growing up.
It's stuck.
It's stuck, right? And for him, that's more of the psychological part of it. It's like hearing that, oh, when you get married, sex all but finish, and you is now old
Why
maid.
people say that though?
Because for the most part,
it's true.
yes,
it is not.
Not for you. You was one person.
I understand that, but it can't be the case for everybody.
If it's the case for 90%, it's everybody.
Okay, so why are we getting married then?
A lot of people get married for wrong reasons. Like we said, how many women have you heard say, oh, he ain't get me no this for that, he ain't getting no ting up? It happens.
I just don't get the logic. To me, getting married is like a license for
everything.
All day, every day, lunchtime enjoyment.
Lunchtime
is the best time for
anytime is the best time for that. But you know what I'm saying? That's the reason why, like when Bridgie made the comment she made, when she said we could be mad.
Yeah, but that don't have nothing to do with my sexual obligation to you.
But them being mad, they can still communicate. They can still interact. But after they didn't communicate, yeah, we still could be mad. But a lot of women do not have that mindset. A lot of women, their thing is, if I am mad, don't touch me.
Mm-hmm.
If I upset, don't touch me. If you ain't buy me the new pair of shoes, don't touch me.
Okay, let's just go off that premise for a second. If we say that that's what we agree on, because a lot of women will say that sex for me is more than a physical; it's emotional. If I'm not connected to you in that way,
they lie
at the moment, then I'm not giving. Okay, but it doesn't give you justification to then say, "All right, well, if she playing off with it, then I'll get it somewhere else." Really?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
No.
If you want to play special, then I could play special. I could play retarded.
You know what? If we playing special, then we shouldn't especially get married.
No, I'm not saying I'm not advocating it, but the reality of it is this: if you expect for me to hold on to the respect of your husband or your boyfriend, then you need to hold on to the same respect.
Then lead me in the way in which I need to go. Let's try to change it, but don't say I'm gonna go get it somewhere else.
You upset because I buy you a big basket for Valentine's, so you ain't give me nothing.
Yeah, but at the same token, listen. I always talk about being in tune with your mate and understanding who you're dealing with. 10-1. This ain't the first time she done get mad because her basket was smaller than Deidre next to her in the bank.
I ain't disagreeing with that.
Let's be real. This ain't the first time. This ain't the first time she mad. You buy a carnation instead of rose.
But what I'm saying is this: as women, y'all cannot expect for a man to hold on to all of the respects and responsibilities and all of the things that he should, when everything for y'all is optional, when y'all do what y'all want when y'all want, and then you say, oh well, you is mine, you have to deal with it. Like, come on.
I agree with you. I always say at the end of the day, there are certain, you cannot say if a man is your provider, for instance, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he's the provider of your household, you cannot, you will not see it in the same way if he said, okay, seeing that you didn't do what I needed you to do, whatever that is, whether that pertains to sex, whether that pertains to keeping my home a certain way, discipline of the children, or we're just not communicating the way that I want as the man in this house. So therefore I won't pay the mortgage. I won't take care of the bills.
No,
I ain't dropping the children to school. I ain't doing none of that. Okay, that's what I'm not going to do because you didn't do something that I wanted, needed, or liked. Obviously, everyone would be up in arms about that.
Yeah.
And I agree. So if that is the way that a man sees it, that this is a responsibility of you as a wife, as a mate, then you have to make up in your mind going in that this is something that cannot be denied. You are going to have to submit.
Now, I don't want you to get twisted. I wouldn't personally do it because I've been in situations where
I think nobody really wants it if you don't want to. You know what I mean?
Right.
But at the same token, I think the point here is that you should want to. Not because you up in your feelings, but because this is your husband and you should want to please him.
And a lot of women, unfortunately, are very selfish when it comes to that. And we always have this discussion.
I agree.
A lot of women are very selfish when it comes to that. Like, you talk to a lot of women, it's like, oh, well, if I don't do this and if he can't respect that, then you need to learn how to do it. It's not I don't do it, and if he can't respect it, then he have to deal with it. No, he don't have to deal with it.
But I think the same has to be said as far as men are concerned as well.
Most men
Rethink that statement. Please and thanks. Don't put that size all in your mouth. Don't put it there, please.
You said about the braces.
Yeah. Rethink that before you go swearing for these brothers. Don't do it. And the people say, don't do it.
No. Hold on.
I mean, if we can be honest about it, be honest, because I'll be the first to say, I know a lot of women that have said that. And like I said, I myself have learned that after the fact, because I'll be honest, for me, that was the case. But that was something that was known. Emotionally, it's tied in for me. And so if I'm under stress or if I'm going through a lot of stuff, I really don't necessarily feel sexual. And I don't want sex to feel like a chore. But at the same token, I came to an understanding that it's not about it being a chore. It's about this is something that is required in my relationship. So, you know, I'm sure all the time he don't feel like doing the things that are necessary to be done when it comes to taking the mantle up as what it means to be a man, but it has to be done nonetheless.
Yep.
But I think a lot of people see it differently because it's a physical act, and you know what I mean? It shouldn't be, but let's be real about it, D. I think that's where the issue comes. It's more of a physical act and giving of yourself. It ain't like throwing out the garbage. Don't even go there. No.
The reality of it is, okay, yes, it is, but like I say to women who run on with some of those things, I said, if you were to come to your husband or your boyfriend and require sex of him and he would tell you, oh, I'm tired, oh man, I don't have a headache, man, I've been awake all day, man, and I run right now, how would you feel? Can you breathe in all the oxygen of the studio just
I mean, to be honest, I think more than likely I would feel rejected, to be quite honest.
Right. So, and see, the thing is, if you as a career woman, if you work, deal with the kids, whatever, your husband may be able to accept that, like one day, maybe 2 days back to back, because it's like, okay, if he's a understanding, mature person, he'd be able to accept like 1 or 2 days back to back, because it's like, okay, yeah, it's a lot. Her job, the kids, the house, I'm running up and down, it's a lot. But 3, 4, 5, no.
I ain't gonna lie to you, we used to get in the most nasty arguments when I was I was like in my early 20s. And some people say, oh, you young body girl. Yeah, but for me, it was trying to balance now newly being a wife, right? I just had this baby not too long ago. I don't want to just be sitting around the house, so I take in classes in the evening and go into work during the day. Okay, right? And then, so that's getting the baby ready, doing all the stuff, dropping off, picking up, being to work for a certain time. You go to work, you get off, pick the baby up from the nursery, take the baby to grandma or wherever the baby's going to go to classes for a couple hours. You come home, you do your homework, whatever. You clean up around the house, you make sure something is there to eat. You feed the baby, put the baby down. When you finally crawl into the tub,
it's time for the next baby
and wash all the dirt off you, and you get in the bed, you feel the hand.
Yeah, it's time for the next baby to sleep.
And so my question, and then it became a point of resentment because it's like, I understand, don't get me wrong, I don't not understand your plight that you're a man and you have needs, but a part of marriage is compromise. And it ain't like you're removed from the situation. So where is the compromise to say you're tired?
I did say a mature man, a mature, understanding man. Like, no, realistically, because like I said, remember I said on the show, I think it was yesterday, when I was dealing with my oldest son, I was a police officer. His mom, she had just had him. And I know her running up and down with him all day, trying to sleep, him crying, all the rest of it. It's exhausting as all hell. And I wasn't even there. I just see it. Like being home, like before I probably have to go there for like 4 o'clock, dealing with him in the morning, I hear the crying and I hear the pamper changing and then the burping and then trying to put him down and do
then
this
sometimes
and do
they
that.
still cry.
Right. And so I understood it. So when I got home at 12 o'clock in the night, I would go take him out of the room so she could sleep. So she could sleep with no interruption. And I take him out, I change his pampers, burp him, whatever. And I rock him to sleep. We fall asleep in the front room. She'll wake up and see us in the front room. She go back in the room and go sleep because now she know, okay, she know he ain't dead because she ain't been crying, but she know he. So a lot of times it is about compromise. But like I say, a lot of men have lost the ability or the willingness to compromise because a lot of women, and unfortunately, the unfortunate thing is this. The men have lost that willingness to compromise because of the women that they've dated. And the women have lost that same thing because of the men that they dated. But now when they meet a man who at one point was willing to compromise, he is kind of hard at compromising. And when she meets this guy, she is also kind of hard at compromising. So now it's a battle of who can be in control. And it's sad.
And it is. Because I always say, my thing was, if you can wait and you can understand my situation, me knowing that you have been willing to wait, me knowing that you are understanding my plight, when I do give to you, I guarantee that all will be well. Yeah, go sleep. That's what I need you to do. So I can go sleep. Thanks. I appreciate that gesture. Exactly.
Turn your body to good.
Please, thanks. That's all I'm saying. And like I said, I get it. And all I wish people just would understand, just to be understanding of other people. I agree that women have to get to a place where I wouldn't say less emotional about it, and I agree that sex is a beautiful thing, but at the same token, because I've heard men, and it can be wrong. Now, if I'm wrong, then I guess men can correct me. But I've heard men time and time again will say, y'all don't understand what this is for me. This isn't just an act. This is a soother. This is a calmer. This is a release. I need these endorphins that come along with this. And
remember,
it's almost like a necessity.
Remember I told you, during sports, like during the playoff season, the NFL season, the playoffs, Olympics and stuff like that, they put their male athletes on they make them stop having sex for like 4 to 6 months before the Olympics. Now people will be like, why in the world would you do that? Because it creates aggression, it creates that extra strength, it creates that higher level of testosterone. What you think them fellas be fighting on the court because he missed a shot? No, but he need to
deprivation.
Yeah.
But I've heard it, and I think women jest about it all the time. Women's be like, my goodness, it don't matter if the roof falling in hurricane, whatever, it's done.
Yeah. And so, and right, once the playoffs are done, then you could go and you could have your release.
Get your release.
But we need that extra strength. It's the same thing. And women think it's like you say, it's just a gimmick to get it. No, it becomes. Yeah,
a necessity.
It is a necessity.
So it's just the fact that we don't, and it's so interesting. So many years, I mean, centuries, and we still are at the same place of non-understanding. Why?
I think,
or unwillingness to do what we understand.
I think for the most part, it's what you were taught growing up. If you aren't taught these things as a woman, if you aren't taught that, hey, this is what your husband needs. Like I know some women that teach their daughters as they get, as they get into the age of dating and looking into marriage and whatever, they tell them you could if you upset with your husband, don't cook, don't clean, just to agitate him. But the one thing that you do not do is deprive the man of sex, because he will sleep in a dirty house hungry if he could get that thing. He can stay home.
I laugh it, right? It's not funny, but
y'all can be spick and span. You can have all the food in the world, but don't give him nothing to see where he can be.
At the same token, I think that's a big pressure point for women as well. I don't think that women like to be put in a position where if you don't give,
it shouldn't be.
I get that, but at the same token, there may be it may be different reasons why sex is being deprived. But I think that's one of the biggest things that women are dealing with right now. Why there's an issue of saying no. Men have put it in a way where, and if I hear that one more time, I will choke a dude out. Man, shortage, you ain't want to get me? There's plenty other women out here. Shut up.
I get that. But even
because that's
they say
we all need t-shirts and flags with it on it now because it's getting to that place.
Like the flags for the upcoming.
Thing. Yeah, they got them through the tree hanging like ornaments and things. I said the last Jones and I put that up. And that's the thing, and women don't like to be put in a position where, well, if you don't, many other will. Well, if that's the case, and if you don't see mine as anything different, then by all means, go do what you got to do.
Use that tactic all the time.
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah.
If you don't pay attention to me, or there's plenty fellas out there who pay attention to me.
Yeah, women do that.
There's plenty people in my WhatsApp trying to talk to me. There's plenty dudes trying to get where you trying to be, and you joking.
Yeah. They do.
It's the difference between trying to be and I was gonna say something.
Don't say it.
Oh, don't talk. Just listen. Yeah,
no, but you use that tactic of it's more out there, so you keep doing what you're doing, and I push it out.
That's what I'm saying
it's
is
the same tactic.
I'm not saying that it's not a tactic being used. What I'm saying you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't use it. Why are we to these places of immaturity? You call yourself woman, you call yourself man, and yet we still playing into these foolishness.
Because I mean, I
hear what you're saying, and us, not you. I mean, generally, women and men both need to grow up.
But watch this. Let me show you how serious sex is, even biblically. God says to you, he says, a man's body is no longer his, but his wife's. And a wife's body is no longer hers, but the husband's. In other words, once you are married, there is not at ever one point that you should deprive your mate of sex. Now, a lot of people say, oh, well, what if my husband ain't, buddy, you married that man. You chose to marry him. You choose to marry that woman. So,
but are these conversations that we're having before we get married?
Are
men making it clear? Listen, do you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? Because you need to understand.
I told a lady.
Y'all don't say that.
Hold on. I told a lady about this woman I heard about. She said her and her husband have been separated for like 20 years. They've been living in the same house for like 20 years. Mm-hmm. She said, and she prayed. She told God. She said, "Now God, listen. You listening?" She said, listen, please. You told me the only man I got have sex with is my husband. She said, and that's the only man I will have sex with. She said, and I'm not using protection with my husband. So if he is out there doing something, keep him covered, keep him clean, keep him protected, because that's mine. And that's the only man that you allow me, by your words, to sleep with. And after 20 years of not living in the same house, she says whenever she get that itch,
that feeling,
she call him.
Yeah, I know.
She say every Sunday she's cooked and he's come over and she'll cook for him.
They got a pre-engaged.
She feed him and everything every Sunday, without fail.
You just feed him, all right.
Yeah, every week. No, she say every.
Candy, some women use sex as a weapon. That is why some men have to find a side chick. Man, wait a minute.
What that is? That's a woman or man?
That's a man. Candy, some women use sex as a weapon. That is why some men have a spare chick on the side.
I just try to defend us.
And then there it goes.
What is?
Action. Yes, it is he. 812-1787-431-8497. You can also hit us up on Facebook Messenger. This is The Real Sound with Global 99.5, home of the Steve Harvey Morning Show. Love Jones is in full effect. Today's the day that we get into sexuality, sensuality, the issues of intimacy that we face as men and women in relationships, trying to get into marriage, submission, all that jazz. Hi, y'all. I love listening to the show. Thanks for letting me know these crazy folks is out there. She said before that if that's the case, she gonna have to probably pay because these people is still know.
That's
They be on a whole lot to do.
That's not even working.
Yeah.
Had to be.
Well, she just say what she got to say.
Yeah, I like it.
She say what she have to say. Okay, so let's talk about the question. Well, the statement that was put forward, because I think it's a real argument, right? We might as well go ahead and get into it, because he said, okay, some women use sex as a weapon, and that's why you have to have a spare check on the side.
A lot of men think that way. A lot of men feel like that.
Agreed. And you would hear women say it, I guess, as to money. You hear, well, if he want to play with his money and he don't want to give, then I'll have a dude on the side that'll be, Eddie Minnis said, the finance man.
The finance, he'll be the romancer.
Yeah. I don't agree with that. And it isn't just about monogamy, although that is a big thing for me. My thing is, if you're in a relationship, marriage, fiance, girlfriend, you're dating someone you ain't know if you're dating, you're just trying to check them out to see if they even have the qualifications you want for dating. If it's lacking, and that's why I say lay your cards on the table from jump. I can start writing up the vibe. Like, seriously, I can start doing
like a job application.
I can just slide that to you across the table. Please review areas and sections A with subsection B, C, and D, 1, 2, and 3. And I think it's something you need to talk about and tick inside the things that you have issue to. Or I've already, those that are in bold and italicized are non-budging. Yeah, they ain't happening. Men need to say, listen, let me be frank with you. This is where I sit on these situations. I think how men say, I don't know how to love you the way that you need. You need to teach me how to love. It's been said in music. We've talked about it. I need you to teach me how to love you the way in which you need. I think if men are saying that they are sexual creatures and there are certain things that are their expectation in relationships, then frank and clear about those things. And if she is unwilling, then that is not the mate for you to choose, because it has to be all in all in agreement when it comes to very fundamental things in your relationship.
The problem with that is men can do that, but society, for the most part, have given women the upper hand, quote unquote, and make them feel as though men are dispensable. And if he is not willing to bow and yield to your wants or your whatever, then find another one.
We just talked about men doing the same thing. If you don't want to give me sex, then I'll get it somewhere else.
I'm not even talking about that. If a man comes up to a woman honestly and says, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Oh, well, I'm about that life. This is what I into.
Then you have a choice to make as a man.
Hold on. But let me ask you. See, and I agree with you. But all men have that same mentality where it's like, look, I can be the leader, I can be the head, and I can be the long and short of it. You have a lot of men out there who they just to have that woman, nice shape or pretty face or whatever, they gonna whatever just for that.
Then eat that. But
understand what I'm saying. You have a lot, and so a lot of men, I mean, not Dervin, but a lot of men have now started to bow to that, and it gives women that same ego trip, so to speak, where they feel as though, I'm telling you the truth.
I'm not saying that you're not, but it has to be accountability by, it's just like I always say, women complain about being viewed as sexual objects, but then they benefit from wielding the power of sex. You can't complain about something and then use it to your benefit out the same breath.
And then
so I don't encourage that. And the same thing goes for men. Keep saying that women use sex as a tool, but then you keep going in the flicking toolbox, my brother. You can't.
You always come out with these big jeans things.
Solid, not today, please. I can't.
I mean, I see it as a naturally two laws of attraction, but we take it further from the laws of attraction, initial attraction, and use it as a keep your hair tool.
I agree, but here's the thing. I think I agree that sex is quite the powerful thing. My God, people have gone in under wars for these Book of Solomon. It's like, dang,
Yeah.
that's some powerful reading
But
in
you
there.
could take that power back. I always say that you could take it back, and
Hey,
females
this is the people's side.
females get mad when you say no. But take the power back. That's my last.
No,
word.
but I always say that men have continued to color in these lines, making it so where it's like, oh, we bow, we're victims to sex, and men do it all the time. Look here, if she ain't acting right, and you feel as if, listen, I'm not saying to deny, because we just advocated against doing that, but you are within your rights to say no. Just some men were saying, listen, all this thing with birthday, anniversary, Valentine's Day, everything y'all just want to put on when Lacey something, and that's present. No, we ain't doing that no more. You need to actually think about things that I like, things that I enjoy, and I need for you to show me that it's more than that. Just how men are able to say that, then say, listen, this is more about sex. When you agitate me and aggravate me and you ain't acting right within this relationship, you can't just come and say sorry with sex and that's going to smooth it over. You have to actually fix and correct your behaviors and treat me with respect as a man. This little sex what you're giving, go ahead and go sit down with that. But a lot of men ain't gonna do that. They still gonna take it.
Yeah.
And so therefore in her mind, yes, I can continue to do what I do. I give him a little sex and we're good. Stop doing it. Stop doing it and stop blaming the women for things that you continue to do. Yeah, they can continue to do it, but it takes two. You have to buy into it in order for her to sell it.
So don't scream at me.
I just saying.
It ain't me.
But it's same on it's the same thing on the other side.
What other side?
When we talk about guys using the money to on that side, it's the same thing.
And I agree.
Side.
I don't disagree. You walking around here saying, "Oh, my cookie is the best cookie. It's better than Subway." But then the minute he dig in the wallet and you see they are very delicious. They are very delicious. I need to look into them for some sponsorships because we talk about cookie a lot.
On the no aspect, right? When you usually Durban, when your lady asks you to do something, right, and you can't do it, do you just say no, get from around me?
No.
You so I mean usually
that's different.
Usually when us dudes can't do something for female, we say, oh man, I can't do it, or
we'll give an explanation.
I a little busy, and I give an explanation. On the other side, it's like making me peace, man. What you from me?
I think it's a little bit different.
Make you feel bad.
You're walking around with the cookie. You can't say I left it on the shelf. It's a little different.
No, but like he's saying is this.
No, but
it's not like
say no, but then like
say no.
I still care for you, and you still could get this, but not at this time.
It's the flagrant, frivolous way in which it's handled.
Flagrant no
callousness behind the nose.
It's the same way women like curve dudes when dudes come up and say hi, go from me.
You know me.
What do you think of it?
I was waiting on King to be at the end of that. But anyway,
I was gonna say King, but no.
You changed
it's Friday, yeah.
Listen, at the end of the day, it boils down to communication. Real talk, right? You within your right to say no. My thing is, how did we get to that? Okay, LaFrance just said in the group, right? Women use sex and men use money.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exceeding Robin. So in other words, prostitution is now.
Boy, listen, I can't stand that phrase here.
It's now advocated that sell it. That's what they're saying.
But what most men do wrong, if you watch what women do before they ask for something, they is prime it.
Mm-hmm.
There's oh man, this and that and
y'all just give me these voices when y'all talking about
and then there's ask. Dudes, a lot of what dudes do wrong, they just come out the blue and ask. Like they don't prime it,
Would say that, well, then that's your fault, right? There's no. The thing is this, and I think it goes for both sexes. Women act as if they have a right to a man's paycheck, his wallet,
but that's
his
what
money.
they were taught. That's what
I am not. And I don't disagree with you. Women act as if they have a right to a man's money, right? Now, we'll get into whether that's yay or nay, but that is what's on the table. It is as if you and I are together, It ain't no. If I need something, that's your responsibility. That's basically what it is. And men have the same attitude as it pertains to sex. You don't have a right to say no. You and he's supposed to be together. When you want something or need something, you just ask me. So therefore, this is a need that I have. There is no. And I think that's where we go wrong. Everyone was within their power to say no. Whether you like it or not, that's completely up to you. But a woman has a right to say no, whether you are together or not. How you deal with that as a couple, that's up to you. As well as a man has a right to say that he will not give you X, Y, or Z. You're all within your rights.
So you're in those rights until you say I do. When you say I do, those things change. And like I always tell people, the reason why, for me personally, certain things kind of rub me the wrong way in relationships is because when you're dating, I always say that dating is a precursor to a marriage.
Agreed.
So the same things that you do when we're dating, you're gonna expect to be able to do when we get married. So if you can deny me sex just because you wake up and you having a bad day, and so because you having a bad day, I can't have sex, you got a problem.
Again, don't marry her.
No, I ain't gonna marry her.
Yeah, because my thing with that is like, even if she say no, let's say she say yeah, what Candy said earlier, she say yeah, but then she ain't really taking yeah. And it's like that. Why would you even be into that? So
realistically, now let's be realistic. A lot of times,
keep a romantic air about that.
A lot of times, people when they have sex, married couples, one party isn't always there.
Which isn't cool. That is
no,
cute.
but you don't know that because right now we're looking for a woman. If a woman really is wanting sex and her husband just does it just to please her, she is not particularly aware because of how intense it is for her.
Or if you're into and you are aware.
I said not really.
If you're into and you're aware, I don't care if he flexing and whatever. When
you finish, you may ask me, okay, what's wrong? Because you wasn't you. But you can let him finish because you're on the run. I still need to get there.
That's what you want.
Yeah, I still need to get there.
But you're aware.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But that's my thing for men. Here's the argument that men are having is she shouldn't say no, whether she's angry or not. This is something that should be given regardless of her disposition for whatever reason, whether it's something that you have caused through argument or disagreement between the two, or it's from outside entities or forces. She shouldn't say no. But my question to men is always, do you really want that interaction if she's not fully interested or into it?
And the answer to that is no, but then women use that as no, but I really, they just can't you say if you're really
don't call my name.
Then you shouldn't do it. And right now I going through all kind of stress. The dog just dead.
If it's no,
and the cat run away.
Come on, D. You know the difference between when you're being fed BS and when it's legitimate.
And then like every time is the excuse, then you start to lose this romantic air about,
and you lose interest
practices.
And that's what happens with a lot of men, to be quite honest. I'm not advocating any side chick because you know how I feel about fidelity, but women have to understand that you have to have some onus in and responsibility when it comes to keeping your man interested. Now some men, it don't matter if you give them 7 days a week, 365, they can do what they do. But a lot of times, if you're doing your work, there is less of a chance. Yeah. Now we can't talk about
not no 7 days. Bro.
No 7 days. I mean, if you die your body, that's your business. But I'm just saying, for some men, it doesn't matter how often, or like we talked about that asinine comment that old girl made in the video, saying that it's your fault that he's cheating because you don't stand on your head, you don't do this and that. We all know that's to be BS, because there are some men, for instance, that give their lady everything that she needs. He pleases her, he takes care of her, he pays whatever bills, and she still goes out there and she'll say, oh, well, the one thing he didn't give me is he wasn't emotionally connected. That's BS. You did that because you wanted to do that. Okay. And the same thing goes for men. Some women are doing everything that within their power in order to keep them happy and pleased. And they say, if there is something that is missing or lacking, tell me and I will provide it to you. And some men are still doing what it is that they want to do. All right. So outside of those things, those are different instances and different challenges that you have. But at the same token, we have to have ownership, and you have to discuss these things way before you walk down the aisle. You have to make sure that these things are known, your wants, your the things that displease you and whatever. And please, people, don't go into it saying that you're going to do this and you're going to adhere to these things. And once you have the ring on, you feel as if you could switch. Don't do that, because separation and divorce is still a very real thing. Hello? Let's be real about it. And no one is saying that that means that there's a lack of respect for the covenant of marriage. That is not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that's deception.
Yeah.
Don't say that here are the cards, they're on the table. He says to you, I will love you and respect you in the ways that you need to, but I expect the same thing, and sex is a relevant issue. Don't say you good with that, and then once you get, child, I got the ring now. Oh, okay, separation and divorce.
I think people settle like a year or so after the ring, and they settle, and I guess it loses the magic. But I keep saying today, keep that romantic air, like that environment in it.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree, and I think that's where we do lose track. I think for us, we talk about sex these days like it's a bag of chips. I mean, really, we speak about it, and I guess a lot of that is what you see all over the place. You see people having public sex. There are videos of things that you wouldn't even see on Cinemax at night. My lord, you wouldn't even see these kind of things on Cinemax at the late hours when the satellite on F10.
My God.
Back in the day, these are things that you see every day on WhatsApp, social media, whatever. So I think sex, the way that sex used to be, has definitely changed, and it is being viewed as no big deal. You know what I mean? And
because, like I said, because women are using it for gain.
I don't mean like that, D. I agree. But okay,
it's
not even that.
Using everything.
Everybody's using everything to their best benefit.
Women are using it for gain, and men are using it for status.
For instance, it is Friday, so I can just say it. The act of oral sex, right? I remember back in the day, you were taught. Well, Grammy them really didn't talk about that. That was like something like the unicorn. Used to hear about it, but you'd never see it. But even when you started to have those discussions with older women and the matriarchs of your family, when you were at that age, even when talking about your friends, that was something that was saved for long-term person that been in your life, commitment, or husband. Like I always say nowadays, chicks doing that like that's AC in a new car. Standard. That for any and everybody. And some men will disagree. Candy, would you shut your mouth in there? I need that little thing.
Yeah, we talk about modernization.
Yeah, but at the same token, modernize what? Listen to me. You need to stop that Chiba. I know you got to get off the Chiba.
I was wondering if you ever date sex.
I hear exactly what my earphones working good for that one. I definitely heard that. Modernize what? No. Some people might say that's an old school way of thinking, but I think because we've lost every fundamental as it pertains to old school, is how we've gotten the predicaments that we're in today. I mean, to be honest, sex used to be something that was saved, okay? And to be what? Yes, it actually was.
Back in the day.
What? Okay, let me ask you. Let me give you an example. Okay, you're in your mid-20s, right?
No, but how can you save that when you're getting married at 13, 14? What do you mean?
Because bear in mind, if you get married at 14, you are now legally.
So they didn't have nothing to wait on.
No, they did have to wait. You
waited like 2 years.
No. If you
had 11, you wait 2 years.
But brother,
wait, you going way back to biblically?
At the end of the day, we're talking about like when you got married.
My grandma was 13.
Right, 12 and 13 and stuff when they got married. But my thing is this: they were married. So as a married woman, as a married person,
there wasn't anything to wait.
You could still have
but
sex.
We still have to understand.
But here's the difference: at 13 now, they're having sex and having children with no option or possibility or viability for marriage anywhere in the near future.
And by 13, you was already finished school back in the day.
But I'm saying, all I'm saying is, we can't take the biological aspect out of it and put it in the modern time. So it's like, so back then they didn't have to wait all this time and all this urges building up for years and years and years.
Even if we take that into accountability, what I'm saying is, what's interesting to me socially on a societal basis, we keep preaching Christian nation, right? But when it comes to sex and all the things that are intertwined in that relationship and marriage, we want to talk about the modernization of things. Christianity doesn't have modernization. It is what it is.
Christianity is
Do you understand what I mean? That's
It
the
does
standard.
And that's
Period. Full stop and the end. That's all, folks.
That's all.
It ain't no more to that. And there's no modernization. No matter how we try to flex it and change it, it is what it is, and the word don't change.
No.
We change because it suits us, and that's
Correct.
that's honest truth. And to say, okay, if I'm not waiting, like I said, let's get back. If you're in your mid-20s, being with a woman and dating a woman, what's the longest that you will wait before you feel as if she's disinterested or leading you on before there's the availability or the option comes into play for sex to be had? Let's be real honest about it. Don't give me that Garfield smile over there. Give me the real. Let's be real, and not just you.
In modernization, you really discuss these things pretty early on. Like you discuss these things,
And that's what I'm saying. So
and
through your
then it just
discussions,
goes with comfortability. Now.
so how long you comfortable waiting? See, because you trying to flick and tap dance. You trying to do the shuffle on me over here. No, solid. I can need that little answer.
I on a celibacy thing.
See, I can't dog you, man. You.
We're not gonna play football. Season still start. So we
Yeah, I see that. All right, so so you're mid-30s, eh? You're mid-30s.
Late 30s.
I mean, but back to me, mid-25, past the prime of your biological sexual time is like how long you expect a dude to wait? Like we done
I'm
pass
willing to
our
answer
prime.
that if you're willing to answer my question.
We pass
I'm
our
saying
prime.
dating
You
a
need-
woman and you find her attractive and she has said to you that she finds you attractive, what is a time that you see as viable that she doesn't provide some kind of sexual activity between the two of you for you to feel as if she's still interested or engaged?
If you add intimacy, you can't add intimacy and then withhold that for a long time, for at least a month.
You notice he's silly answer.
No, you didn't answer it.
For at least a month or two. If you add intimacy, now if it ain't no intimacy, then you don't have it's like if you don't add intimacy.
So
the
intimacy
first
is a
base-
precursor to the actual act of sex.
Right. If you start intimacy and things start moving, this natural is a chemical reaction.
There's
You
an
can't-
expectancy.
I mean, you can't cut the boat off midway.
Okay, so but what you have honestly said is about a month, right?
Month or 3, 4.
We can go with that first one. A month. Now Dia said if the switch hit, that could be the night.
You're right.
Yeah.
It could.
And so
But see, the thing is, again, I kind of have to agree with what he said. It's based on the discussions about it's based on the comfortability, based on all those things. Because I was in a relationship with a woman for 3 years and we didn't have sex.
but what I'm saying is I would assume in that time period there was a discussion as to
No.
what you just didn't.
We just didn't.
You
But-
was in the same
but-
place and all that.
But we can't compare it to back in the day. 25 to 14, 15 and married,
Yeah, but
Like back in the day?
Hold
No,
on,
that's what I'm saying.
Ain't nobody stopping you from getting married at 13. No one stopped you.
I wish I
You
could
still
get
do
married
it.
at 14.
You could still do it.
Well,
No,
let's
your parents
tell
have
our,
to sign off on that.
yeah, let's
Do it.
tell our kids to get married at
No,
14.
they can do it, but
No.
you
No, you
have to
understand what I'm
sign off on
saying.
it.
No, but this is what I'm saying, right? My granddad sent a letter to North Lutra saying, "Hey, your daughter there,
Uh-huh.
I want to marry her." She agreed, sent the letter back. They was getting married.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now they legally married, wop within how much? Not a long time,
Mhm.
without even really getting to know each other. And these marriages going
And how
on
long-
for
How
like
long was
50,
How old was
How-
Granddad?
50 years. My granddad was 23.
He was 23 and your grandma was 13.
13, 14.
So that was 10 years, 9 to 10 years. And they've been married for how long?
50 years.
Until death, my granddad just died like 2 years ago.
And they was married up to the time of his
Still
death.
married.
Yeah.
So 50 years plus.
Yeah.
So is it us that's doing
I
something
just
wrong?
gonna say, I told someone just a few days ago, I'm like, my parents been married almost, I told you.
And they were
My parents were married for 40
how old
years.
was your mom?
My mom was 21. My parents have been married for 21, 22. They've
So
been
it
married-
begs the question: with modernization, has there been something that has gone wrong in the process?
Probably. Because nowadays, I think back in the day, I think that thing was this. if he's a good dude, you're a good girl, you're married,
Let's
and you're
survive it.
built together.
Let's
no,
survive.
and you're built together. But the thing is, nowadays, everyone wants to say, okay, well, I want to find someone, meet them, fall in love, and then marry.
Yeah.
And I think Candy made the statement. She said, "Well, when you hit the plateau, then what?
Yeah.
Because you've already built towards the plateau. Once you hit the plateau, then what?
Right.
Now it's back down.
Yeah.
So if you start off as
Low,
friends
low.
and you start off
And then you
like
build up,
and
then
that
the house-
comfortability, and you keep building, you could keep building for years, because every time you get to know something more, you get to know something better, you learn, you have a little fallout here, but you could rebuild it.
Yeah.
And that was the key to back then, because like I said, when my parents told me that they weren't even really they weren't in love when they got married, they were just friends.
It's just custom.
Right. And I'm like, well, how did that work? But look at most of the marriages that lasted 40, 50, 60 years. And you ask them, did you love your wife when you married her? No.
Not particularly.
No.
No, that.
No. He was okay.
Things
He was
like that,
cool.
man.
Huh?
Things like that.
I think what it is the best relationships come out of the friendships. But when you have something that fuses the friendship together, it could become better. Back in the day, they weren't caught up in social media, WhatsApp and Facebook and Twitter and all these other things.
There wasn't much options.
No.
Right, that add all these outside influences
But see, that's
and
the thing,
ignorance.
and I get it, and I appreciate all the things that have come with the modern things. But at the same token, I think that they have served as a distraction
They have.
when it comes to us really making the kind of connectivity that we need to as human beings. You know what I'm saying? We're not taking the time to make the kind of connections that we need to. We're not taking the time to really learn. Women aren't understanding what it is to be women outside of what they see on Instagram, what they see Remy Ma doing. They're clueless. You know, and mothers are not having these real ready conversations with their daughters and teaching them things,
Mothers
not
are-
about just getting money. Yes, you taught education, but you have to teach your daughters how to be well-rounded women. And you know, it just has to be what it is. And even the most Christian of women that are deeply rooted in the Bible, they will tell you about the servitude and the things that come along with being a wife, as it pertains to not just the kitchen, but the bedroom, as well as being a helpmate as to business and every other thing. So if you can draw that from the biblical sense, modernization has nothing to do with
With
that.
it, no.
Those standards and those things that exist
change.
and what it pertains to be a husband and a wife, they stand, they've always stood, and they will remain thereafter. It's what we choose to
follow,
adhere to
correct.
and follow and not to.
A lot-
And it's those choices that bring us to the state where we're at as far as relationships doing their worst.
A lot of the fallout in relationships today, unfortunately, is based on the fact that a lot of mothers are teaching their daughters the wrong thing.
As are men.
As are men.
Men have fallen down as well. Men have lost respect in eyes of women, and I think that's why a lot of times those abrupt and nasty no's come without hesitation. Back in the day, that
then you
was
gotta-
it.
you
You
gotta-
didn't even think but telling your man no.
But
That
you
was
gotta-
optional.
The thing is, you judging me based on your past your experience with Buddy in the past.
Not all the time. Sometimes you're being judged on the experiences that I haven't with you on the here now.
It's the weekend, baby.
We want to know my final words is, guys, before you ask, you gotta be slick.
Primary.
You gotta be slick. When she come home, get the oils, the lotions, and massage. That's my word. Massage, then send the message.
Right.
Prime it.
Prime it. I like that. And I can leave that right there. Prime time, baby. It's the remix to Ignition. Fresh and hot out the kitchen. For that. A lot of times as women have to understand that men want to be, as Solid has said, primed. Men want to feel special and important. Don't feel as if just because he is yours, in so to speak, that doesn't mean that he doesn't want certain things to be given, certain softness to be had. He doesn't want to be romance in a way, provide a hot meal, his favorite meal, rub him down. You know what I'm saying? Who's to say those things don't want to be enjoyed by a man? And I have to agree as well, as far as men are concerned, yes, that may be your wife, but who that doesn't just mean because her body is yours, you've gone down the aisle, that she is not having the expectation to be soothed, to be softly spoken to be romanced. Just because it's your wife and you have quote unquote papers for her That doesn't mean that there aren't certain things that she would not like to be done in order to make your sexual relationship more sensual and more enjoyable. Ownership is only 9/10. You still need that 1 to make that 10, eh? This is not going to be a popular opinion before we check out for the day, but I think people put too much stock in something they know nothing about. Love. I do love my husband, but that was reason number 5 or something for me marrying him. The first thing was we respected each other and have common goals and common mindsets. Love was the icing on the cake. Agreed. We just talked about that. That's how it was back in the day. All right, you got the farm, got one house to put her in. I respect you. You respect her. You right. When was the last time a dude asked the father for his daughter's hand in marriage? Or women actually take the man that they see as a future, a viable source for a future to the house to say, this is a man that I'm seeing. I want you to know who he is. We sneaking and creeping around here. And you wonder why? I agree. Everyone focus, and I love love. Mwah, love it to bits and pieces. But love and sex have taken over the seat and run it straight over the friggin' hill and down the terrain.
Why are you gonna do that?
As I go to picture evidence, I can't bring that up. But I'm just saying, we out of time. But I agree. I love it. I definitely love it. And but it's true, Mandy. It's true. We out of time and I gotta go, right? But at the same token, I love love, but love and sex is taking over. We don't respect each other as husband and wife no more. And that's why it's so easy to walk away from your marriage and tell your husband no when he asks you for sex, because you don't respect.
And then you go there and 10 years later you find someone and
because every other thing what's supposed to be for marriage, it go to the
I
door.
get back to my husband because I see what I was doing was a bunch of ignorant.
Girl, if you don't take that cookie and put that in the shredder. Listen, 812-1787, 431-8497. You can continue this conversation via our Facebook page. Check the video out later on Love Jones Crew Facebook, as well as Global 99.5. We're gone. I can't. It's the weekend, and D, I got to join you because I finished with this conversation. Wiggle link!
Yeah, we can link.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our